Good afternoon, everyone. It's Venerable Sumana. I am making this short video just to update you all on where I am currently, where I am staying, what I have been doing, and my plans for the near future. So, as you all may know, I was ordained a few months ago. Let's see. This is now February, so about 3.5, 4 months ago, I was ordained as a novice, a samanera, at Thabarwa Meditation Center, which is a Burmese monastery in the San Gabriel Valley here in Southern California, outside the city of Los Angeles. And that was a mostly good experience. I was there for almost a few months, and now I am currently staying at a temple in Orange County, which is further south of Los Angeles. It's called Chula Vihara, and it's like half Burmese and half Vietnamese, and the abbot here, or the monk who is the resident abbot and teacher here, is Burmese, and he has been my teacher here. And the devotees, half of them are Burmese and half of them are Vietnamese. So this temple is associated with the Pa'ok tradition in Burma. The Sayadaw, who is the abbot here, my teacher here, he trained with Pa'ok Sayadaw in Burma. So I've gotten very familiar with the teachings of the Pa'ok tradition while staying here. Some of you may be wondering why I left Thabarwa Meditation Center to come here to Chula Vihara. Well, it ties back into the question about the Vinaya. When you are a newly ordained monk, or a samanera, a junior bhikkhu, who's getting their 5 years of dependency in, or their 5 years of training under a teacher in, you need to be in an environment that supports a strict standard of Vinaya. You need to be in an environment that, where you can have a teacher to teach you all the rules in the Vinaya, and not just teach you theoretically, but also show you how to follow them practically, in practice, in real life situations. So it's one thing to study the Vinaya, and you should study the Vinaya. That's very important, to study the Vinaya. But you also need to follow the rules in the Vinaya, like practically, in practice, in real life. And that is why you need to have a teacher. You need to live with a teacher that knows how to follow the rules, that does follow the rules in their everyday life as a monk. And so this all ties into the question of, Thabarwa Meditation Center, Thabarwa Sayadaw, as it's called in Burmese. Is Thabarwa Sayadaw, or Thabarwa Meditation Center, a suitable environment for young monks or newly ordained monks? The short answer is no. Thabarwa is not a suitable monastery or tradition for newly ordained monks. The reason being is because there is no formal Vinaya training at Thabarwa Sayadaw, Thabarwa Meditation Center, and the rules and their importance are not widely understood by the vast majority of the people there. So I don't want to give off the impression that it's all bad. There are, there is a system at Thabarwa Meditation Center. There is a system. They do have kappiyas there. They have several lay people living there with the monks and nuns, full time, who do all the cooking and the driving, and in my case, handling money, because I do not use or handle money, which is against the rules. For a monk to use or handle money, that's against the rules, the Vinaya rules. So the kappiyas, the lay people living at Thabarwa Meditation Center full time, they would handle money instead of me. So that was for the most part never an issue for me. The money rule or issue was never an issue for me for the most part, because we had the kappiyas there and they would handle the money instead of me. So and many of them were from Burma. So being Burmese, they had a lot of faith in the monks, and they were willing to help me out as much as they could. They would just say, whatever you need, Bante, and they would help me out. So that was really good. But you get into the habit of explaining a lot of things to people, because, again, there's no formal Vinaya training at Thabarwa Meditation Center. So there's nobody there that really either theoretically understands all the rules, like the 227 precepts for bhikkhus, and there's nobody there that is practically, like in practice, actually following the rules. So it's not like Paul, like when I came here to Chula Vihara, I got, formal Vinaya training, from the Sayadaw here, from the abbot here. He, and when you go to POC, when you train in POC, they actually give you formal Vinaya training. They require you to read all the rules, in the books, and then they also show you how to follow the rules practically in everyday situations. So, they're teaching you theoretically and from experience as well. So POC is a really, really good tradition to train in if you're talking about the Vinaya, if you're talking about following the precepts. The system at Thabarwa Meditation Center, Thabarwa is naturally stricter than a lot of other temples and monasteries that you will find. So like I said, they have lay people living at Thabarwa full time. We had several lay people living with us at Thabarwa Meditation Center. And like I said, they did all the cooking and the driving, and in my case, handling money as well, so that I did not need to handle money. So, that was good. But, and then they also have at Thabarwa Meditation Center, they have pindapata or alms round every day. So every day they go out around the city of Los Angeles and surrounding areas. And, they do this at the main Thabarwa Meditation Center in Burma too, where they'll go out around the neighborhood in Tenlin, which is the city right next to Rangoon that the main Thabarwa Meditation Center in Burma is located in. They will go out for alms every day to every Thabarwa Meditation Center in the world, I think. There are like 115 Thabarwa Meditation Centers now. It's a big tradition, but they have daily pindapata or alms round. They have alms round every day at Thabarwa. So, there is that. So they get their food, and they always get fresh food from lay supporters. So they're not like storing food or anything like that. From what I could tell, I certainly wasn't when I was there. And from what I could tell, the monks and nuns there, for the most part, were not either. They were just eating whatever they got from the lay people, so on alms round. So, but despite these, systematic technicalities where they are stricter. Like I said, Thabarwa Meditation Center is stricter naturally. Their system there is just stricter than most other temples and monasteries that you will find. Just naturally a little stricter. But despite this, there's no formal Vinaya training there for monks or nuns. So you do see a lot of people there breaking the rules at times. You'll see most of the monks and nuns from Thabarwa use money. Most of them use money. And, some of them drive cars as well. Like sometimes, if they want to go somewhere, they'll hop into a car and drive themselves there. There's no formal Vinaya training there, and the monks there, don't really have the proper training in the Vinaya to be able to successfully train newly ordained monks on how to follow the rules and how to be a competent monk in that regard. So Thabarwa Meditation Center is mainly known for meditation. That's their focus, is meditation, retreats, and it's very well known in that regard. That's what Thabarwa is mainly known for, is meditation. So they mainly focus on meditation, and they don't focus so much on the Vinaya. The training of monastics to be monastics, to live as monastics, to be distinguishable from lay people. So there's not much of that at Thabarwa. So it is not, Thabarwa is not a suitable environment for a newly ordained monk, I would say. If we're talking about Burmese traditions, I would say that you're much better off training at Pa'ok or Shui Umin if you want to be, trained in the Vinaya, or you want to be at a stricter monastery where there are monks who are following the Vinaya strictly. If we're talking about Burmese monasteries, Pa'ok or Shui Umin, are stricter monasteries. And then, of course, the Thai forest tradition is a good tradition too for the Vinaya as well. They're strict about the Vinaya as well. So like Pa'ok, Shui Umin, and the Thai forest tradition, and then the Galdua tradition in Sri Lanka, which is a strict forest tradition in Sri Lanka. That's Nauyana, Nisara Nawania, which I actually got accepted to Nisara Nawania. And I'm currently in the process of applying for a Sri Lankan visa to potentially be able to stay at Nisara Nawania. So Nisara Nawania is a part of the Galdua forest tradition in Sri Lanka, and they're very strict about the Vinaya as well. So they actually have Vinaya training at Nisara Nawania for the newly ordained monks. Same at Nauyana, which is the other Western-friendly Galdua monastery in Sri Lanka. So, the Galdua tradition, Shui Umin, Pa'ok, Thai forest tradition, those are, Western-friendly monasteries or traditions that are stricter about the Vinaya, and I would say that those are better environments for a newly ordained monk to be in. Because like I said, those monasteries have monks there that are strictly following the precepts, and can show the newly ordained monks how to strictly follow the precepts. So that's a good thing about those monasteries. Thabarwa is you don't have that at Thabarwa. Although you do have somewhat of a system there. So I would say that if you did want to go to Thabarwa, it's not that you should be totally put off by the fact that there's no formal Vinaya training there. It's just that you shouldn't train there if you're a newly ordained monk, I would say. You should train somewhere else where the Vinaya is followed more strictly, or there are, monks that follow the Vinaya more strictly and can show you as a newly ordained monk how to follow the Vinaya strictly. And then once you've had your initial years of dependency or training, you can go to Thabarwa Meditation Center and be involved, I guess, in the community there for a little while. I mean, they have hosted Vinaya following monks before, for periods of time, varying periods of time. Like the main Thabarwa Meditation Center in Burma, where Thabarwa Sayadaw actually lives, they've hosted Vinaya following monks, or at least monks who are somewhat stricter about the precepts. For example, they had Czech Sayadaw Ashin Ottamasara, the Czech monk who lived at Shui Min for a number of years. They had him staying there for a while, and he doesn't use money. He's very open about not using money, and why monks should not use money, and why it's important to follow that precept. How it helps your practice as a monk to not use money. So they have Thabarwa Meditation Center has hosted stricter Vinaya following monks before in the past. It's just that their personal monks there, the vast majority of them do not follow, the ones that are living there full time, the vast majority of them do not follow the Vinaya strictly enough. They follow some of the rules, but not all of them. So many of them use money and drive cars and other things like that. So they're very friendly people. And they're willing to help you as much as they can. It's just that they don't understand the rules the way that they should be understood. Anyhow, that is what I wanted to say about those things. And I also got, as I was mentioning earlier, I was accepted to Nisaranawania, which is a Galdua forest monastery in Sri Lanka, and I'm currently in the process of applying for a Sri Lankan visa. The monastery, Nisaranawania, is sponsoring me to go to Sri Lanka and stay there. So that is in the works currently. And then I also got accepted to another pretty well-regarded or highly regarded monastery. At least in recent years, it's become a lot more famous among Westerners. And it's in Malaysia. It's called Sasanaraka Buddhist Sanctuary, or SBS, and it's in the city of Taiping in Malaysia. And they're sponsoring me as well. So they gave me a sponsorship letter, and I'm, in the process of applying for a Malaysian visa as well. I applied a little while ago for a visa, a couple of months ago for a visa for Malaysia. It got rejected because the borders of Malaysia are still not open. So they're still closed because of COVID-19. In fact, a couple of years ago, when COVID really started, like COVID-19 really took off and really became a big deal, Malaysia shut down their borders, and all the foreign monks at Sasanaraka SBS were more or less kicked out of the country. So many of them had to leave and go to other monasteries elsewhere. So SBS is currently in the process of getting their roster back, so to say. So they invited me to come there, and they gave me a sponsorship letter, and now I'm just applying for another Malaysian visa. So they say that the borders of Malaysia will open up in March, sometime, but who knows? So we'll just see. So other than that, there are really no new updates. So thank you for watching this video. It's mainly just an update as to what I'm doing and where I've been, and why I kind of switched temples, and where I'm trying to go to in the near future and whatnot. It's mainly just kind of like an update on my kind of path. And some of you might be wondering what's been going on with me all these past months, and since I got ordained. So that's kind of why. So until next time.